Hey guys, Tefco Stock Repair. I'm super excited. Today I'm going to be setting up the beta with a tubeless system. Now, some people love them, some people hate them. I really like it. I'm going to give you the reasons why, and hopefully you guys will stay tuned and find out. All right, guys, so let's first talk about the tubeless system. The tubeless system has, it's just that. It is a tubeless system in the main part of the tire. There is a high pressure bladder that pushes the inside red part, which is a, it looks like a small, like a bicycle tire, and it pushes it up against the outer bead and it seals it. So it seals it on the inside of the tire, okay? Inside of the tire bead and where the bladder is, in here, not up against the rim. But a lot of people think it seals there and it doesn't. It seals up against here, and that's why it's super important to get your installation correct. Now, they give you a full set of instructions with the kit when you get it. Follow those to a T and you guys will be just fine. All right, make sure you're using a good rim that's not all bent and tore up. But I'm putting them on this bike. It's brand new rims. I just took off the tires today, so they're ready to go. Now, the reason I really like them, first off, I hate putting on tires and tubes. It is one of the things that I hate the most. I usually puncture a tube. I always have to buy an extra one. It's a freaking nightmare and I hate it. So I try to avoid it at all costs. So the tubeless system, when you figure out, when you do it a couple of times, you're comfortable with it, it's really easy to put tires on and off. It's not a big deal. You can mess up the bladder if you go jamming in there tire tools like you would with the tube, but you got to pay attention to that stuff, right? It's a different system. So the reason that I like it though is because where the weight is. So a lot of people compare the weight of the tubeless system components and a moose system and a heavy duty tube. The heavy duty tube is probably the heaviest. I think or maybe the moose system. They're both pretty heavy. But the tubeless system, the difference is the thing you want to stop on a bike is rotational mass. So in an engine like a 4-stroke, sometimes a 4-stroke the same size as a 2-stroke will feel a little heavier because the engine's spinning more things. So when you go to turn it, it just feels a little bit heavier. That's why 2-strokes usually feel lighter when you're riding them. So it also, that also has to do with your wheels and your tires. So if you run a really heavy duty tube, a heavy tire, everything is spinning, it's furthest away from the axle. So all that weight you have to rotate, okay? So when you're turning, it gives you a different feel. Now, any of you mountain bike guys out there know what I'm talking about. If you're riding tubeless on a mountain bike and you switch from a regular tube system to a tubeless system on a bicycle, man, it makes a big difference. And you can really feel it when you're riding. It feels different. You guys know what I'm talking about if you're mountain bike guys. So the same thing happens with a dirt bike. So when you put a moose system in there, which, you know, every system has its pros and cons. I'm not bashing any system. I'm just saying that if you put a moose system in there, the moose system is, you know, it's round, it's the size of the tire, fits in the tire big, and all the weight, so here's your rim, okay, all the weight is higher than the rim, okay? Same thing with a heavy duty tube. Heavy duty tube, all your weight is up or along the edge part. So when you look at the tubeless system, everything is down here low. So the only thing up here is the actual tire itself. So all your weight is closer to the center axle of the tire, which center axle of the wheel. So it's going to make it feel lighter when it handles, and you can feel it with the tubeless system. That's why I like them. Now, as far as punctures, I ride in West Virginia. We go pretty far out sometimes, and we're far away from getting any tubes replaced and stuff like that. So I'm able to use a regular plug system if I get a puncture, or if you're someone who likes sealant in there, you can run the sealant inside there. There's a couple different kinds. And you can put them in there, and if you get a puncture and you're riding some certain areas that have thorns and stuff like that, you can get a puncture and it can seal it up. So guys, I'm really excited about this. We're going to knock it out. I'm not going to waste your time with slow motion, you know, taping around there. I'm going to show you each thing in each step, so you're not going to miss anything. But we're going to clip from one section to the next to get it done. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to go scrub the rims up really clean, get them clean, and we'll start the process, guys. Stay tuned. Let's get this done. All right, guys, with the rim cleaned up, I drilled the hole to 11 millimeters or 7/16, and I use this drill bit for that. Now I'm going to use the rim tape on here. And the rim tape, you have a front and a rear. The front's thinner and the rear is fatter. So we're going to put one strip up the middle, okay? And the next one's going to go up a little bit to the left and then up a little bit to the right. All right, so up to that little edge right there. All right, first one in the middle, up to this edge first, second, and then that edge third. So 1, 2, 3. All right, you can see the first layer is right there, and the second one's up to there. You can see that gap right there. And now I'm going to swing it over to the other side. So now I'm going to swing it over to this shoulder right here. All right, then you're going to take a knife and cut the holes. So you got the holes for your bladder, and then your regular outer pressure. So we're just going to give that a little cut there. All right, so I got the holes cut now. Now I'm going to move it over to my stand. This is my tire installation tool here. I made it just out of some scrap pieces of it was just a wheel, and I just bolted down to my stand like this so that the thing is pretty solid. But I had the wheel in. This is just a plastic pail. All right, and then you put it in this. It's easy to kind of spin. So that's what I got for that. Okay, so back to this. Back to the instructions. So, all right, so we did step 2. Moving on to step 3. We got the bladder, all right, and the hex nut on the bladder goes on the inside of the rim. Okay, that's your bladder. And then we're going to take the nut off of the... now, what I want you guys to notice is that on the unit itself here, on the bladder, you have a tube that gets kind of jammed next to this. Now, it's important that this right here goes next to the rubber insert right here, and the rubber insert pushes the outside part. So when you inflate it, it's going to be pushing this rubber part down, which makes the seal on this side right here. So don't worry about it. That's how it's supposed to be right there with that rubber going around it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull the bladder out and get everything lined up. So it comes out nice and easy. Line that up there. Tuck everything back in. Right, we're going to get that tube tucked in next to the rim lock like I just showed you. Double check placement, looking good. Looking good. All right. All right, guys, so this is where differences in installation are going to change. So here, all right, so we're on section number 3 here. And 3 says thoroughly lube the red liner with an Armor All type tire dressing. You can do that when you're using slime, okay? The biggest difference comes in later, and I'll get to that. So I contacted Jeff over there at Nuetech, and I asked them, I said, are we still using the Armor All type if I'm using slime? And he said, you can use either or. So here, so just so I don't, so I keep everything the same, I'm going to use the slime instead of Armor All type of fluid. So what I have here is I just took some of the slime and I put it in a little container. All right. It's going to get messy here, but this is why the slime is good, because you can easily clean it up. So we're going to take the core out of the red bladder, all right, so that there's no pressure built up in there. And then we're going to lubricate the whole red liner, okay, with the slime. It's going to make a mess. We already know that. We're not worried about it. Let me take the core out. I have a small core tool right here, and I'm going to take that out. There's a nut on here. The nut's going to stay where it is, okay? You see the nut on there? That's going to stay right where it is. Whoop. Nut's going to stay right where it is because it's going to go on the, it's going to stay right where it is inside the rim. Core removed. So now we're going to take the slime, and this is going to help lubricate everything when you're putting it on. And it's important here, like, if you have any chips or anything in your rim, that you smooth those out, because as you're spooning this over, you don't want it to rub on this and cut it. So we're going to take this, and I'm just going to get it all. And this is going to help it slide on. All right, so now we're going to work putting it on here. So we're going to take it, we're going to slide it into the holes that we already have. First a rim lock. Put that nut on snugly by hand, hard as I can by hand. And then the small knurled one that's on the bladder, we're going to put that one on, but we're only going to do that one about halfway so it doesn't pull out. All right. Now we're going to spoon it on, and the directions say we're going to start at the rim lock, and we're going to work towards the bladder. Okay, so the way that this rim is here, we're going to be working around towards the bladder, and we're just going to spoon it on like a regular tire here. I'm going to put a little bit of slime on this rim just to help work it on there. We're going to wipe all that up later. All right, so let's start spooning it on. Little bites at a time, just little bits at a time. Making sure this side here is all the way down. If it's too tight going on, just move the tool over and grab a little bit less. Don't force it. Don't, you just want to do a little bit at a time. A little bit here at the end. Okay. And we are in. Looking good. Slime all over the place. It's all right. Remember, when you're working on one side, you saw me reach down. Just reach down and push this into the center. Everything you want to be in the opposite side into the drop center of the rim. Makes it easier. I'm going to take some extra slime and just put it between the rim and the bladder, and that'll help everything seal up. Remember, that's where our sealing point is. And grab my tire. All right, for this next tip, they give you this metal tool right here, and what this does is it just helps when you're putting your tire in. So when the wheel into the tire. So when you put it in, it doesn't want to slide over the other side. We got to get it in there and then spoon the tire onto it. So let me grab the rim. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of lean on it, and it helps spread the bottom. You can see that there. It helps spread the bottom of the rim out. It'll make it easier to get it in. So I'm going to spread that out a little bit. And then we're just going to spoon it back and forth. Keep pushing it in. I'm only using one tire tool here. It's pretty simple. that's it. We're in. Put it back up on the stand. Alright, so now you guys can see that the rim is sitting here inside. Alright, it's just sitting inside of the tire. Slide it back and forth, no problem. So what we want to make sure is our sealing point is on the inside. I brushed that extra slime in there, so we should have no problem. I'm going to do here is take the brush, just pull it up, and just run it on the inside of the bead, not on the outside. We're not worried about the outside. That's not where it's going to seal, okay? And this is just going to help it slide on. Alright, so now in the instructions I'm going to tell you the best way to spoon this on, okay? Alright, so here's the rim lock. You want to start opposite of the rim lock by pushing the tire all the way down. So there's the rim lock there. Let me get it centered. Just going to push that down there. And the key here is that we're going to start spooning it on right next to the rim lock, and we're going to bring it all the way around. And we're going to end up right next to the rim lock there. All right, because when you're getting back to the end over here, the rim lock, you want to be able to push this down. So we're going to start. So this doesn't chase me around here. I'm going to go ahead and put a stop in it. Now here, when we're getting where it starts to get tight, make sure you push the opposite side down. Get this all the way down to the center of the rim. One side, flip it over to the other. I like these a lot. If you can get some of these, get these, because you can get underneath the bead easier. So I'm going to go underneath here. As we're getting tighter, I'm going to push down this side here. Alright, so we are fully mounted now. Now we're going to inflate with air. And the instructions say you want to inflate the bladder to 120 psi. So I'm going to take the valve stem, put the valve stem back in it. Alright, so now that it's mounted on, you got to flip the instructions over, because this is when it's telling you to put soapy water, and if you're using slime, you don't want to use soapy water. So we're going to turn it over. I'm going to follow the sealant note, okay, and the sealant instructions, and it's all here in yellow, okay. If you plan to use tire sealant, do not use soapy water to mount the tire, as it will ruin the sealant. It's inside its sealing properties. Instead, use a brush to spread a layer of the sealant directly onto the sides of the red liner, onto the inside of the tire beads before mounting. The sealant will act as a lubricant and help everything slide into place and seal properly. If it is necessary to reset the system after the sealant is in the tire, deflate the bladder and bounce the wheel on the ground while rotating it. This will work to sealant between the tires and the red line. So let's go ahead and fill it up. My compressor should have no problem filling this thing up to 120, but I have a small pump that can do it as well. Alright guys, so that's all there is to it. I'm going to let it sit overnight. I'm sure the pressure will be fine. These tubeless systems, like I said, they feel better when you ride them. I like them a whole lot. And the last one that I had was a used one from somebody else. So this is the first new set I'm putting on. I'm excited. I can't wait to ride it. I got some beta videos, trail videos coming up, because I'm throwing these things on and riding on Sunday. I can't wait to see how they work. It's not a hard process to do. Take your time. Get a couple of those curved tire tools if this is your first time. It makes the whole process easier. Enjoy putting it on. Don't hate it. This is easier than doing a tube. I'm telling you. You don't have to worry about puncturing the tube or nothing like that, guys. Hope you like this video. Please get out there. I'll put a link in the description to Nuetech so you can get a set of these for yourself. It's totally worth it. I like them a whole lot. I'm interested in seeing how the slimes are going to do, because if you remember on the mountain bikes, when you get a puncture, you're going to see a little wet spot there where the slime or the sealant come out. I usually use stands on my mountain bike, but I'm trying the slime on this one. So I'm looking forward to doing it, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for further notifications. Until next time, this is TEPCO Cycle Repair.